Hello students, today we are here to discuss a topic on personal selection and placement. Personal selection is a core to any organization as it involves hiring process of various employees in the organization. It basically refers to the process where organizational requirements are matched with the skills of people, that is the applicants who have applied for the employment. Okay. The importance of effective personal selection is proper selection of employees is necessary for any organization because of the various reasons, such as first, it will save the organization a large expenditure. It will ensure that the new recruits who have come to the organization will serve the organization for a longer period of time, as jumping from one organization to another is a frequent process. Next, by selecting the best candidate for the required job, the organization will get best quality from the employees, that is quality performance from the employees. Then finally, organization will face less absenteeism and employee turnover problems also. Any successful selection procedure involves various steps. Some of these steps are: first is job analysis, recruitment, application blanks, interviews, letters of recommendation and assessment centers. We will one by one explain what are the various steps. First, we talk about job analysis. Basically, job analysis deals with finding out what are the specific skills required for the job. That means, what are the various elements which get into the job, so that what are the various skills you have to look out in an employee who has to do that particular job. The basic purpose of job analysis is, one is to describe the nature and also the components of the job. Second is to provide information about tools and equipment used in the jobs. This refers to, for example, if you are doing a technical job, what are the various computer softwares etc. to be used in the job, so that you can look out an employee who has this specific skills. Next is to provide information about operations performed. After this, to identify the education and training required. There might be a job where you require a specific kind of training. Next purpose is to provide information about wages paid, as this is the right of every employee. And finally, to provide the information about unique aspects of the job. For example, there might be a job which requires different timings to work on. For example, in an MNC, maybe you have to work night shift as it has to coincide with the countries you are working with. Therefore, to provide information about unique aspects of the job, it also becomes the part of the job analysis. Next, we will discuss how job analysis is done. There are various methods in which job analysis can be done. First is the simplest method, which is known as direct observation. In direct observation, the person who is doing the job analysis will directly observe the workers throughout their work. Every day, throughout the day, whatever the worker is working or the employee is working is being observed. Now, this observation is called as direct observation, and it can also be through electronic monitoring. Here, as the observer is not seen by the employee, the genuine aspects or even details of the job aspects can be understood. This method gives first-hand information about the job. This method also helps us to understand what are the various factors which influence job performance. For example, there can be factors such as fatigue, physical conditions at work which might influence the performance of the job. All these information can be obtained through direct observation. But the main disadvantage in this method is you cannot observe all the jobs easily. For example, if you want to observe a surgeon conducting a surgery, it might be little difficult to see and also to understand. After direct observation, which is the most simplest method, we come to the next method, which is known as interview method. Now, this is very frequently used, where the employee doing the job is interviewed and the experts who are doing the job are interviewed, such as worker, the supervisor and the trainer. They are questioned on the various aspects of the job so that the detailed analysis of job can be done. These questions are carefully planned and clearly worded to get maximum information about the job. After interview method, the next method in job analysis is questionnaire method. A questionnaire is a piece of information where you get through various questions which are given on a paper. There are three types of questionnaires used in this method of job analysis. First one is unstructured questionnaire. In unstructured questionnaires, the questions asked are open-ended questions where the components of the job have to be described by the employee. The second type of questionnaire is a structured questionnaire where the workers describe the tasks, procedures and working conditions of the job, and also they are asked to rate them or select the items that are related to the job. After these two, the third type of questionnaire is known as the position analysis questionnaire. This is a unique questionnaire which has 194 job elements and are organized into 6 categories such as information input, mental processes, work output, relationship with other people, job context and other job activities and conditions. By analyzing all these 6 categories through these 194 elements, the job can be analyzed in a detailed manner and in a more effective manner. This is known as questionnaire method. After the questionnaire method, the next method is known as systematic activity log. This is a method which is also known as diary method. In activity log, the workers and the supervisors record details of their daily activities. Though it takes a long time to get required information, it can provide information that is otherwise not obtainable. Then finally, the method in job analysis is known as critical incident method. In critical incident method, identification of unique behaviors is done that lead to successful job performance. Behaviors that distinguish good workers from poor workers and behaviors that lead to desirable or undesirable consequences of job are explained in critical incident method. Through all these methods, the method of job analysis is completed. Once the job analysis is completed, we get full information about the job, what are the various skills required for the job, and also what are the various educational or training qualification an employee should have. The next step after job analysis is the recruitment process. The process of recruitment refers to locating and encouraging potential applicants to apply for existing or anticipated job openings. It basically aims at attracting a large number of qualified applicants who are ready to take up of a job if offered, and also searching for the prospective employees from various sources. Basically, recruitment is important as it develops an applicants pool and serves as a base for selection process. Recruitment can be done using various sources. Some of these sources are online search service. Websites such as naukri.com or monster.com refers to online search service. Next is newspaper advertisements. In our daily newspaper, especially newspapers such as employment news, you get various advertisements relating to the employment opportunities. Next source of information is employment agencies, where the unemployed people go and register, and whenever there is an employment from a company or another organization, they are informed. Next source is job fair, which are generally conducted in colleges and placement cells of the colleges. Then next is on college campus. These days most of the recruitment is done through college campus. Then finally it is referral from current employees. Current employees who work in an organization refer to another employee whom they know who have required qualifications for the particular vacancy in their organization. Through all these sources, recruitment process can be done. Though recruitment process is a very important process, there are definitely some challenges and constraints, and it is not a very easy method. The challenges and constraints faced by recruitment or faced in a recruitment are basically: number one, the recruiter's choice of communication medium may not be appropriate. For example, if you are advertising a job in a trade journal which may not be read by everybody, so therefore the choice of communication becomes appropriate. The second constraint is some candidates may view the vacancy as not in line with their current expectations. For example, the person who requires a job might feel that this particular job which has been advertised is not challenging, or the timings are not good, or physical working conditions is not according to his convenience. Then the next constraint is poor image of the organization. If the image of a firm is perceived to be low, it can be because of factors such as declining industry, earning a bad name because of environmental pollution, poor quality products, etc. Then the recruitment process can become a problem. Next constraint in recruitment is unattractive job. Jobs that are dull, boring, anxiety producing, devoid of career growth opportunities, generally do not reward performance in a proper way. Next constraint is conservative internal policies. A policy of filling vacancy only through internal promotions based on seniority, experience, job knowledge, etc. may often come in the way of searching for a qualified hands in a broader job market in an unbiased way. Then there is limited budget support. Recruiting efforts require money. Sometimes because of limited resources, organization may not like to carry on the recruiting efforts for a long period of time. Therefore, it becomes a constraint in recruitment process. Then finally, it is restrictive policies of government. Reservations for special groups such as scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, backward classes, etc. have to be filled according to the constitutional terms. This sometimes may be a constraint in recruitment process. Nevertheless, recruitment process gives us the applicants pool and forms a basis of selection process. After recruitment comes a next step which we call it as application blanks. This helps in securing information from the prospective employees. The information collected through application blank is educational qualification, work experience, salary, personal details, references, etc. It also sometimes includes interests, attitudes and hobbies. Some organizations use paper application blanks and other also use online applications. The next very frequently used method is the interview method. Interview is a face-to-face conversation with the prospective employee with an intention to understand his or her technical skills and other aspects. It is the most widely used method of selection process. Interviews are of various types. First one among this is unstructured interview. In unstructured interview, the format and questions are left to the interviewer. Thus, it is possible that two interviewers will have different opinion about the same applicant. What happens in an unstructured interview is the questions to be asked to the prospective employee is not defined or structured beforehand. So, the questions are mostly spontaneous. So, the disadvantage here is when there are more than one interviewer, people might have different opinion about the same applicant. Next is the structured interviews. Structured interview have the set of questions to be asked are decided before. The same questions are asked to the all applicants. The process of interview is standardized, therefore, there is less chance of interviewers bias. Most of the interviews which are conducted to understand the technical aspects or technical skills of a person, structured interviews are used. Next is situational interview is designed to measure specific job behaviors that are required for successful job performance. This interview is organized first by preparing a list of critical incidents that differentiate successful employees from non-successful employees, then converting incidents into questions, and finally by deciding the scoring system. Here these incidents are in the form of questions are posed to the prospective employee and asked, how would you behave in this critical incident? According to the response of the prospective employee, the scoring is given. Next is the puzzle interview. Applicants here are asked to solve puzzles. It basically helps to measure critical thinking, creativity, flexibility of thought, and ability to reason under pressure. And finally, there is online interview. With the advancement in the technology, many organizations are nowadays using online interviews for screening the applicants. Computer software is designed for an online interview. For a position, the same multiple choice questions are asked in the same sequence to all applicant. The applicant has to do this online, that is sitting wherever he wants to and attend the interview. Online interviews are also done through video conferencing, where for example, the person is in one country and the prospective employee is in another country. The online interview can be done through video conferencing. Though interview method is the most frequently used method in selection process, it definitely has certain limitations which have to be overcome. First limitation is prior information. Whenever the interviewer has prior information about the prospective employee, it might be difficult for the interviewer to do the interview as he becomes biased. The next limitation is the contrast effect. In the contrast effect, the prospective employees are compared with one another. For example, after two people who do not do the interview well, the third person, though he has done the interview on an average level, the interviewer might feel the person is very good because of the two poor applicants before. Next limitation in the interview method is interviewer's prejudice. Here the interviewer might be biased. For example, the interviewer might have a view that this particular job might not be done very well by female applicants. Therefore, though the female applicant is very good according to the qualification and also skills, they might not find it very convincing. After interview method, several documents are collected from the employer. Among this, one document which plays a very important role is references or letter of recommendation. It is a process of getting information about applicants from people who know them for a long time. For example, teachers, former employees, co-workers, etc. The purpose here is to see others' impression about the applicants, and also it helps in verifying the applicant's information. But the main disadvantages in references or letters of recommendation is that the former employee might not give the correct information about the prospective employee because of various reasons. After letters of recommendations are collected, then there is assessment center. Assessment centers has various techniques where applicants are tested in a simulated situation. The most commonly used techniques used in the assessment center are as follows. First one is the in-basket technique. In this techniques, applicants are provided with a basket similar to the basket or computer files found on the manager's table. The basket has similar problems and questions that are generally found on the manager's tray, such as email messages, orders, etc. Now, in these techniques, the applicants are asked to solve these problems or asked what they would do in a similar situations. Their responses are recorded and evaluated. The next technique in assessment center is leaderless group discussion. In this technique, applicants form a group and discuss an actual job problem. Even here, the discussion is recorded and evaluated later. And the final technique in assessment center is oral presentations and role playing. In oral presentation, the applicants are given some materials and information about some aspect of the job. They have to organize and present it to the group. In role playing, the applicants act out the role of a manager in a simulated job situations. The applicant's behavior can be videotaped again and evaluated later. With this, the correct employee or the right employee is selected for the job. After the employee has been selected for the job, the process of placement starts. Placement is a process of assigning a specific job to each of the selected candidate. It involves assigning a specific rank and responsibility to an individual. It implies matching the requirements of a job with the qualifications of the candidate. Once the employee is selected and placed on the appropriate job, the process of familiarizing the employee with the job and the organization is known as induction. Induction becomes an important aspect as it helps a new employee to get familiar with people in the new organization and also working conditions in the new organization. The main objectives of induction program are: 1. To help the newcomer to overcome his shyness and nervousness in meeting new people in a new environment. To give the newcomer necessary information such as location of different departments, rest periods, etc. It reduces confusion and develops healthy relations in the organization. To ensure that the newcomer do not form false impressions and negative attitude towards the organization. Then also to develop the sense of belongingness and loyalty towards the organization. Next, to reduce employee grievances, absenteeism and also labor turnover. And finally, to supply information concerning the organization, the job and also employee welfare facilities. These are the main objectives of induction program. With the induction program, the prospective employee becomes the actual employee of the organization. The selection process ends once the employee enters the organization and starts the work. The selection process is a very important process in the organizational behavior. It is very important that every step in the selection process has to be conducted with utmost care, because effective selection process leads to good employees and quality of performance.